The following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
What's up, Officer Ingoglia? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Mike? How you been, buddy?
Not too much. What's happening? Week 3 here. Pod's underway.
Loving life. Just FYI, got the doors open. It's very hot here in Orlando. Doors are open. Dogs are running around. So if you hear some barking, it's just part of the show at the Gridiron Ranch. But yeah, it's been a good week. My daughter graduated. I mentioned it last pod.
Yeah.
Went down to Boca. She graduated. The actual graduation. I'm going to pull a Mike Corey here, so I'm going to gripe a little bit. Okay. My Larry David-ness.
Okay.
Graduated from Lynn University, great private school in Boca. I don't need to tell people how expensive colleges are today. They're ridiculously overpriced. I don't care what school you go. They just are. Okay. Lynn, great private institution. She gets a degree from there, graduated magna cum laude, something that I could only dream of. And my wife, with her 5 degrees, never did that either. So we're very proud of my daughter.
Wow.
They have their graduation at the West Palm Beach Convention Center. So as I'm pulling up, and oddly enough, I'm like, oh, crap, I've been here before. That is the kind of the headquarters for the Boca Bowl. And I've called the Boca Bowl for ESPN a couple times. So I've met with teams there. But you go in to the convention center, and there's basically like 5,000 chairs, and it's all one level. So it's not like a lot of the graduations are usually in like a basketball arena or, somewhere where the arena seats. So that was really annoying. It was driving me nuts. And for a school that's small, it's only like 3,500 students. They had a lot of graduates, master's degrees, doctorate degrees, specialist degrees, undergrad degrees, and they were just all kind of mixed in. So they had like over 1,100 people graduating. So it took a long time. And I didn't want to be that guy because I don't want to aggravate my daughter, but my daughter was aggravated the same. So I was good, but we went, had a great steak, let my daughter picked out a great, was called, the Meat House, I think. The Meat House in Boca. There's a couple of them.
Not to be confused with the Beefmaster.
Not the Beefmaster in North Carolina, which is good.
Wilson, North Carolina. Go ahead.
North Carolina, the Meat House. It was excellent. So it was good. But got one down. Now I got to get her a job. Now I just got to get her a job.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. But I mean, you feel like, like you said, like you think like they'd have that down to a science, like the graduation, or it would be kind of really super special, for a smaller school, right? You know what I mean? Like a little bit more organized, I guess, is what you're talking about.
Exactly. Because I will say this. So as the people were coming across the stage, like some people had their gown, and I'm very like, I don't know, when it comes to certain things, I'm very like proper, right? And So some people came across the stage and their gowns were unzipped. Other people came with cell phones, right? And I was like, so I asked her, I'm like, did you like have any direction? Like, and she's like, not really. For those that know or don't know, so my wife graduated from the University of Alabama last summer with a specialist degree. Specialist degree is a little above a master's, just below a doctorate. It's her 4th degree. She likes.
It's amazing.
Likes going to school. So she walked across the stage in Alabama, and in Alabama it was very like structured. Okay, no cell phones at all because they don't want people screwing around, and I get that. No cell phones. Keep your gown zipped up when you come across the stage. And they gave announcements to the family. Hey, when your loved one, friend, family member comes across the stage, gets announced, they're going to exit this door. You can go out there. And so it was like you moved you out. You weren't sitting through a 4-hour commencement. You know what I mean? It's like, which was great. There was none of that, which led to kind of the frustration. So it is what it is. We'll see. One more to go. Florida State in a couple of years. We'll see if that's any better.
Is Jess going to be in more school, or if she really loves school, just have her come with you on the road to games and get her.
I think she'll knock the doctorate out next because with the specialist degree, basically, other than like your dissertation, like most of her work's done. She's a school counselor. It's a counseling, marriage and family counseling, and all that stuff. And
it's awesome.
She enjoys doing it. Listen. I'm like you, baby, one and done. Bachelor's degree at UMass and done. Well, you never went on and got a master's, did you?
I did not. I did not. So it's like it was COVID, right? During that time where everybody's doing nothing, and fortunately, we're still getting paid, thank God, and everything was, okay, what are we going to do here? And that's when I decided to get into teaching, right? I mean, you do the same thing. We're always fielding a lot of calls and emails and texts or whatever from like prospective announcers or people that want to get in the field. And I try to always get back to everybody. And it's like, you pay it forward. Like we've always talked about, somebody helped us one day to get to this point. Everybody would love to be doing what we're doing. So it's like, I try to, give back. And I'm like, it was Brad, who we'll hear from a little bit later on, my partner on the UMass documentary. That's actually what we started doing, the UMass documentary during COVID, because we had all the time. And he's like, you should be in the teaching. So back to your original like kind of question here. It's like, yeah. And then I start doing the research, like anybody that's a teacher, professor, whatever, it's like, where's your master's? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, I don't have a master's. I'm a broadcaster. You know what I mean? So I went out to like 15 different schools, or at least emailed and tried to get in touch with them. Of course, UMass and Delaware, the top two, because I spent all these years, working at Delaware doing the radio. And I just kind of said, hey, all this time experience that I've had, I'd love to kind of help with the Department of Communications. And I think I was just very appreciative that they looked at it, was like, yeah, 20 years of experience or whatever. Yeah. This guy knows what he's done. He's been fortunate. He's done multiple sports, the Olympics, etc. They just kind of blew by the Masters thing. You know what I mean? I was like, good, because like it's more than that. To be honest with you, this field is about experience and relationships. It's not so much like I graduated with a 3.9 and I got my. I don't have it. So, but it's worked out fine.
And not to take a shot at academia.
Yeah,
but I'm going to take a shot at academia.
Yeah, I'm all over it. Yeah.
Like you essentially, and I put myself, this is going to be my 17th year with ESPN.
That's crazy.
Forget masters. Like we have a doctorate in the broadcasting world from what we see. So anyone that tells us, well, you don't have an actual degree in communications, a specialist degree, a master's degree, an advanced degree, you can't teach, to me is ludicrous. And I run into this too. I have over 20 years in law enforcement, right? And I'll have people come up to me all the time that are criminal justice majors, and they'll tell me things their professors told them. And I'm like, oh, was your professor in law enforcement? Well, no, they're just in the academia setting. So not that you can't be a good professor in criminal justice if you were never in law enforcement, because of course you can be. It's kind of like you can be a good football coach and never play the game. We see those happen all the time. But to your point, like sometimes it drives me nuts. They put such an emphasis on what's your specialized degree, what's your GPA, what's this, what's that, when in all reality, real life on the job experience, no matter what profession it is, to me, is hands down better.
No, 100%
more meaningful when you're teaching it.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not bashing people. Like your wife's gone through all this classes and getting her doctorate potentially. That's awesome. I'm not saying that is very hard to do. It takes a lot of time, dedication, effort, and I applaud those people. And they are very smart. There's no doubt about it. I'm just saying, in terms of our field, a little bit, it's not as prevalent. You know what I mean? Like you're an engineer. Yeah, you got to have a good grade point average. You got to go through the stuff. Doctors, of course, that's not something where it's just like, let me just ace the test for the hell of it. No. You need to know this information. Like this is very important. So I try to do that too during the class. You've spoken it, it's like real life stuff. Like I'm not, when I go at the beginning of the semester, I tell them, I'm like, there's no midterm, there's no final, there's no tests, there's no papers, there's no quizzes, there's none of that crap, because I don't want you just studying to like learn the information so you can get a good grade of the test and then forget about it. I want you to remember it. I want you to like use the 20 years of experience of other people telling me stuff that like would help you out and remember it and do it now, like at 21 and not when you're 41. You know what I mean? So,
well, and one of the most gratifying things that happens to me every year, and you know this, I speak to a journalism broadcasting class at UCF, which is right around the corner. And Eric Adelson's a professor. If the name Adelson rings a bell, it's Andrea Adelson, who works for us at ESPN, ACC, does a phenomenal job. It's her husband, who's a former writer himself, but now he's teaching. He always has me in. And just last week, he DMs me comments from the students that sat in there with my talk, and it's the nicest thing, and it's very appreciative, and just trying to give back. Like real life experience, like you said, goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. So we're kind of wrapping up our first and goal here to begin the show.
That's right.
What's going on next week? How many dogs do we have? 8 now?
7. Well, we have 6 dogs. My mother-in-law, who lives on our property, has an in-law apartment, has 7. He's here. He's always.
So it's really 8.
No. Well, we had one that passed away last year. That was
I knew that.
A little baby. Remember little baby?
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Baby passed away, had an ailment. Yeah. So we're at 7, and
okay.
We're not going to be adding on. It's like, we got some that are up there, but we're a dog family. So
that's on week 4 of the pod. Rene's 7 dogs, and then our Dunkin' Donuts. We haven't even talked about Dunkin' Donuts. I have favorite Dunkin' Donuts.
We got to get done. If anyone's out there and they want to advertise on this pod, feel free to hit us up.
Well, we're gonna get Dunkin'.
We're looking to add advertisers, and you know what? Dunkin' Donuts would be perfect.
Yeah, Mike and Rene run on Dunkin'. That's exactly what it's going to say. We're going to get them. I mean, there's no doubt. Awesome stuff. We got 2 really cool interviews for today that we did just about a week and a half ago with Marty Jacobson, who's the all-star donor for UMass football. Has just been so generous, and a lot of great stuff has been happening thanks to his contributions. We'll talk to him. You'll hear from that interview. And then Brad Davidson, my partner on the UMass documentary with UMass basketball. We just got our editor signed up, and that's going to start to get edited pretty soon. So we're really excited. We got a little ways to go there, but we're moving right along.
Well, now we'll get into it too, but I mean, it's the perfect rollout, getting this thing done as UMass basketball goes to the MAC conference. I think it's just perfect for a lot of people learning about UMass basketball and UMass sports in general. And before we jump into the Marty Jacobson interview, and I like to call him the super donor, his name's on the Football Performance Center, his name's on the press box. And one day, if I was a betting man, when UMass gets a new football stadium, and we will get a new football stadium, I would venture to say his name will probably be on that in some capacity. For those wondering, I did talk to some people at UMass this week. I have my sources, right? Everyone says I have sources. So
sources tell you. What do you got?
Listen, we talked about this a little bit in the last pod. Got through spring football, no surgeries, which is just incredible, right? A very healthy spring, got through. But the most important thing, although that's very important, I want to say, I think for the first time, UMass is bringing back everybody from the spring to the fall that they wanted to. They didn't lose anyone that they didn't want to keep, if that makes sense. They re-signed everyone. They're ready to go. So, got through the portal. We've said this before, Mike, when we've had this conversation. As a group of 6 program like UMass and the MAC, every group of 6 program, when you have a player that has an outstanding season and shows out, if a Power 4 wants to come in and grab him, there's absolutely nothing you can do. That's not a UMass issue. That's a group of 6 program. You're just not going to be able to compete with that. What you need to do as a UMass is money-wise, which they have invested now, right? This revenue share is going to be coming. You just need to be able to compete with your conference and the conferences comparable to you, the Sun Belt, the Conference USA. I would probably say the lower to mid-tier of the American. And by competing with that money, you're holding your roster tight, roster retention, because the worst thing that can happen, again, if you're going to lose someone in the Power 4, that's going to happen. When you lose someone to a kind of a rival team, a team in your conference, that's what hurts. And I think UMass is in a really good place to have that roster retention, and they showed it getting out of this spring portal, transfer portal, with the team they want getting ready for fall.
No, it's a good point, but this is what I like about this staff, right? I mean, we talked to them. We're really energetic and excited about what's going to happen with this season, because I'll just say this, I don't want to feel like when time comes down to the portal and players going left and right, I get it. Like, oh, well, he was going to get 500,000, so he's gone. Listen, there's got to be something else said about who you are as a coach, as a person, as the university, as the other things surrounding this school that make it so that you do want to stay here. Okay. We can't just say it's all about the money. It's like, oh, it's about he didn't leave. Look, are you doing everything possible in your power to retain the people that you want to retain, like you said? And that's all the other stuff, right? Being a good, coach, really taking stock in their life, really caring, making sure they're doing well in the school, the setting, their friends, family. I mean, you got to go the extra mile, which I think Joe and this crew and this staff are going to do, right? Because let's be honest, there could be other reasons. Like if it's all said and done and they just love this place, but they could have made 100,000 somewhere else or whatever. And they're like, you know what? Am I going to lose everything I had for, I know it's 100,000. It's not really 100,000, by the way, after taxes, you might end up blowing it, whatever, in a year on something anyway. Maybe I'll just stay here. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like there's got to be other stuff you can do besides just being like, well, it's all about the money. It doesn't matter to me because he's gone.
Perfect example. You're on the money too, because $100,000 in the MAC in the group of 6 where we are, that's a lot of money. Not a lot of guys are getting that. Okay.
Right.
So to your point, unless that money is life changing, and honestly, that's really the Power 4. Like that, there's a small fraction of people where it's life changing.
Right.
If that money's not life changing, all the things you just said have to come into play more so than the money. Is it the right place? Is it the right staff? Am I going to play? Am I going to win? Do I have a chance to go to the NFL? Am I going to have a chance to get seen and make a little money, get my education?
Right.
Feel like I'm in a family atmosphere, which I felt like UMass had this spring. So, yeah, you're 100% on the money there. So, I'm excited once again, but you guys will enjoy this interview with Marty Jacobson. Again, super donor, graduated in 1968, played football way back in the day, and just is a super supporter of UMass athletics.
Down in Florida, yeah, that's what this guy is. I heard you talking about it before.
Yeah, no.
You must be loving life.
Well, it's a great place to retire.
Well, I'm not retired yet, Marty, but I love it. Mike, no state income tax.
I know.
You're invited.
I've come down to the Gridiron Ranch before. Have you been over to the Gridiron Ranch? I mean, you got the club, but that's what you have, right? The little sign says the Gridiron.
So I live by the Orlando airport. I bought 5 acres, which to me is a lot of land. I got a lot of dogs, and I affectionately named my home the Gridiron Ranch because I like to say I had a cup and a half of coffee in the NFL when people ask me. So that little start on life helped me buy that property today. So that's why it's called the Gridiron Ranch. There you go. And number 19, I got my UMass number on my front gate. So
yeah, the difference between you and I is back when I played, we had leather helmets.
Yeah.
I have to thank all my coaches now because the reason why I'm totally healthy is I was always on the bench.
Well, Marty, you ended up pretty good, Marty. So,
Well, it's just like you. I'm very proud of University of Massachusetts. And back when you played, we took great pride in the success of the program. And I'm very excited right now with the new coaching staff.
Yeah.
I really think the culture's changed. I think it was a learning process for us.
Yep.
Sometimes when you reflect on why things happened, it brought us to this moment. And Joe is the new head coach. I mean, his background checks all the boxes that you would look for. Head coaching experience, selection of his coaches, like having Liam there as the offensive coordinator, what he did, and then recognizing that, hey, he didn't know everything, and going back and becoming a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten at Minnesota, then Rutgers. Now at 38, he's excited about the opportunity.
And me and Mike talk about it all the time. Obviously, I'm a former player. I bleed maroon and white. Mike can tell you this. And anyone that's done an ESPN football game with me, my partner this past season, Courtney Lyle, like I'm always watching UMass games before my game. And me and Mike call all the time. And to your point, Marty, I have never, and it's not cliche because I know people say it all the time, but I have never felt more optimistic about UMass football than I do now. And this team and what Joe's put together and the coaching staff. And I know you feel the same way. You just said it. And so we're excited.
I think the other thing that people don't realize is that by getting into the MAC now, in being involved in the coaching search, in the past, we had real challenge in getting top quality candidates to consider because being an independent was death.
Yeah.
And their resume is going to depend on how many W's they had. So the timing was perfect. We really, you following the UMass as closely as I, we were great till the fourth quarter in a lot of games. And the culture that I know the new staff's working on is getting the guys to how you're in the fourth quarter now. How do you put them away?
Yeah.
And so the whole, I'm like you, very excited.
Yeah, I mean, Marty, your support, I mean, has been incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, how much you care about this place and what you've done, for the facilities and the program and the people here. You have a lot more, I feel like, just at stake and like the care for this place that, not a lot of people have the same level, of course, but what is it like for you and how much you've been involved in this from day one and to try to see what's happened and now try to get out of this because you've given so much of yourself.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I get a lot of gratification out of being able to contribute. The thing that I've always been a winner, and the thing that's been frustrating is how we've done in football is a poor reflection on the university. And sports, and particularly football, are the front porch, as you've heard our chancellor say. Mm-hmm. We got to get the students back involved, that they'll take the pride. When I tell people, it's long now, but when I was at UMass, we had 7 players drafted into the NFL, including 2 first-rounders while I was here, Milt Moore and Greg Landry. Yeah. And the quality of football was outstanding. And the other thing that people don't realize, back in that period, we played on a regular basis, not only UConn, but we played Boston, we played Rutgers every year. It was, if you knew and if we had the leadership back then, we would have been a member in the Big East. Back then, they didn't understand what was going on. And then we had the opportunity when we got lucky with John Calipari coming in, and we had Mark Whipple here for football at the time, to take that and run with it. Yeah. But again, hindsight's wonderful.
Yeah.
But now we're in 25, and I, as we're saying, I really think we've got a window to do a lot of great things. But in answering your question, we need more people that are going to be involved, taking pride in what's happening, whether it's students or alumni. Yeah. And not everybody can give the same financial contribution. That's not the only reason. It's buying season tickets. Yeah. It's showing up. It's taking positive things. I know.
Being positive on social media.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
But I look at social media, those people that are on, a lot of them are the same people that were on talk radio. Yeah. They like to hear themselves. And if you look at the number of people saying negative things on there, it's a small group of people. Yeah. But we do, well, I read it. I'm fascinated by their comments. I had one guy that I read on the football forum 2 days ago saying, hey, we need a new press box. The man's never even been inside it. Yeah. And I mean, it's 10 years old, and for a mid-major, it's excellent. And a lot of these people, they don't realize that this performance center is pretty darn good.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, this is awesome. And let me ask this, because you've been involved, obviously, with these conversations and meetings about, facilities and improvement because of what you did with this. But, like, the stadium overall, like, I mean, what do we do here? Like, I mean, how much money is it? I mean, how do we spruce this all up? I mean, you tell me, because like I said, you've probably been way more involved in this than the average fan who just wants to sit there and be like, what's the deal? Like,
it's a very good question, and we do need the stadium itself. We need to upgrade it, and we need to bring it into the modern era. Yeah. But winning will solve that. When we talk about everything else, once we start to win, and we're filling the stadium, and they need more seats, that will be a real important factor. In the last 10 years, look at our record each year. Even when WIP was starting to show that there were some positive things, we needed to get to that next step. And we've never had a sellout since the first game in the new stadium.
Well, let me just double down, though, on what you said about, people needing to come out and help support. Yeah. I hate to hear just like, oh, well, when we win, they'll be here. Yeah, that's easy. How about you come here to help us win? Like, we need the support. Like you said, it's not all financial. It's not about that, because not everybody has those kind of means. It's like, where's the students? Where's the fans? Where's the positivity? Where's the great talk about this program? That's what's going to help them win. And then we'll get to that next step.
I totally agree.
But Marty talked about it. So, and I think the fact that a couple things. One, that year that WIP almost turned the page. We did we did the UMass UConn game that year. Remember that?
Yeah, there was a
and
couple
UMass
games.
beat UConn, who was in the American at UConn, and they beat BYU that year. But it's just, to your point, the support just turning that page. Now I think we all agree this year, 2025, it really is a new page. We're in a conference. We're in the MAC. We've done a lot of MAC games. It is a really good conference. I know you know that, Marty. There's good competition here, but now the kids can play for a championship. And just the way rosters are developed today, and with this new coaching staff, you can do a 180 in 1 year. And from what I've seen, games I've called, and what the product that they're going to put on, there's no doubt they should be able to compete in year one under Coach Harris-Simiak in the MAC. And I'm excited for this product they're about to put out there.
I totally agree with you.
And to the point as well, going into the MAC, and I'm not just saying it because we both work for ESPN, the MAC has an ESPN contract. So you're going to be able to see UMass on a national linear stage more than ever. And then, of course, when MACtion rolls around in November, that's when you really need those fans to come out and the student bodies to come out for those Tuesday, Wednesday games. It's a great opportunity to showcase the football program, the university, and everything involved in it.
Yeah.
No, it's an excellent point. And along that line, the Temple games are opener.
Yeah.
The students aren't going to be totally back yet. If people would come out, they're going to have a great experience. It's going to be a fun team to watch. Come out, and because there's seats, there are going to be seats available. Let's sell the place out.
Yeah.
Let's see the new coaching staff, see the players, support them, and then judge for yourself.
Yeah. Lastly, anything else that you want to add or be able to tell the fans or the people that are, maybe there's other misconceptions or things that people need to know that haven't been talked about, like while you have an opportunity, what else do we need to know added on to everything else you said?
I would just like to say, the school has done remarkable things in the last 10 years, going from 56th rank as a public university to 25th. It's amazing what we're doing there. We got to find the same school spirit when it comes to athletics, and having everybody joining in and taking pride. Alumni that just talking up UMass, wearing a UMass T-shirt, whether they're in Boston or they're international, those things make a huge difference. So that's my biggest thing: is come experience it and then believe in us.
And we've talked about this. UMass is a national brand. There's nowhere you can go in the United States. If you say UMass, people know what you're talking about. The potential and the opportunity at the flagship university of the Commonwealth here is just, it's unlimited. And we've just scratched the surface on it. And we really have a chance to do something special here.
Marty, thanks so much for your time and all your support.
Thanks, Marty.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Great talking with Marty. And then you and I spent like an hour with him at dinner, after that, just super down to earth. It's a great person. Obviously his support is, through the roof for this program. But I was just remembering all the things we talked about with him, and he's 100% right. It's like, it's a poor reflection on this great university. Like, that's the thing. Like, over the last so many years, right? We've been talking about this. It annoys us because it's like, no, we're not a laughing stock. This is a very high level institution. It's a national brand, like you said. And I hope everyone starts to realize from the top down how much athletics will bring that to life, right? I don't think they recognize it enough sometimes,
everything that was said there is 100% spot on. You got to get the support that will help us win games.
Right.
But ultimately, when they start winning, okay, there is going to be a whole bunch of people from Eastern Mass all the way through the state who really, don't support UMass because they haven't won, that are going to jump on the bandwagon. That's just not a UMass thing, Massachusetts thing. That's a school nationwide thing where when schools have struggled, when all of a sudden they start winning, everyone's like, oh, I was there the whole time. I was like, all right, come on. I will say this too about Marty Jacobson. The man has given millions. And again, it's just not all about money. He has the means to do it. But just because you have the means to do it doesn't mean you do it, right?
Right,
He has given millions upon millions of dollars. And he's done it in a time where they haven't been successful. So how easy it would be to say, well, no one else gives a crap, right? The legislature's not really putting in what they should be. And I'm putting in my personal money. I'm gonna go donate my money somewhere else. He's never done that. He has stuck with it. And I told Marty, he more than anyone deserves a bowl ring when UMass wins that first bowl game in this. I know in a lot of the old timers, yes, we won. We played in the 1972 Tangerine Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in the new era of the transition, we've never been to a bowl game. And when we finally get there and win one, Marty Jacobson is going to be rewarded with a bowl ring.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And you know why? Because he's the one that got it started. Like he is the one that said, yeah, it's not going great. I'm here. I'm going to support this. Because you're right. Once they start winning and it gets better, watch how much more influx comes in. No, it's going to all go back to him, who was like, yeah, in your darkest time and when we really needed the help, you got us over the hump. Because we're just starting here. I mean, this is we're going to get this thing picked up. And he's right about this too. This team was so close last year. I know the record doesn't indicate it. So when you bring in this new staff, re-energize it, keep some of these great players here a little bit, Rene, right? Yeah. It's just a little bit away from blowing it in fourth quarter or overtime and winning. Like they're not way the hell away. Like that's the whole point.
And I'm a broken record every time I talk to someone, and you know this. And we talked about college football. It's different now. There's when you become a head coach, 2-3 years to rebuild, you can do it in 1 year. It's been done multiple times now. To your point, a lot of games should have been won last year. They weren't. You bring in a new staff. They brought in some players in the portal they've tweaked. And I just think the attitude, if you will, the confidence that I saw when we were up there for the spring game, it just seems if you didn't know, if I just plopped you in and you watched this team, you would not know all the heartaches and just the losing seasons they've had up to hopefully what this year is going to be a complete turnaround. You know, he talked about Mark Whipple in there. Mark Whipple, the 1 year we talked about, had 4 wins. That's the most wins this program's had since transitioning. I mean, think about that. 4-8 that year.
Yeah.
I just got a good feeling about this year coming up.
Yeah. And look, just to cap off on Mark, I mean, he's a great coach. I mean, he did a hell of a job. I mean, seriously, let's just talk about this for a sec. Like, we had a tough year. He takes over the program, 1998, his first year. They win the national title. Okay. Like FCS. So, like, what does that tell you? Yeah. He brought in a couple of guys, only a couple. The rest of them are here. And then they won a championship. So, like, he knows what's up. You got to get some support. We got to get the support going. So, later on in these pods, we're going to talk about this. I'm going to make a real big push on the students and, like, supporting and coming to a game. We should really try to come up with something here where we're like, this game or this day or, you know, how everybody does that. It's like it's a whiteout, it's a blackout, it's this, that, whatever. We need to garner everybody and their grandmother, head on down to McGurk Stadium. And like Marty said, pack it. It's only 17,000. It's not hard to sell it out, and let's just see what happens and see the atmosphere.
Me and you have had this conversation, and I had this conversation with Ryan Bamford, the athletic director, and he knows that. One, I think they have to be creative and outside the box with T-shirt giveaway, with all kinds of stuff, because there is absolutely no reason to have an on-campus stadium with probably legitimately 10,000 students in walking distance, right? I
know.
Probably more than that. I'm being conservative, but there's probably easily, because even the ones that live off campus that are right there, you probably have upwards of 15,000 students in walking distance.
Yeah, there's 5,000 at Southwest across the street.
So there's no reason why you can't get 5,000 to 10,000. If you put 5,000 to 10,000 students, which is essentially half that stadium in there for a game, that is tremendous. I mean, that would be what needs to happen. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think
let's talk a little basketball now.
Yeah. Let's switch gears to basketball. So, again, like I talked about during COVID, I started this up again because we talked about it way back in like 2016. Brad Davidson, UMass grad, like myself, and we said, hey, we wanted to make a movie on UMass basketball. The story hasn't really been told the way it needs to be told. Calipari was back in 1988 to go into the Final Four in 96. It wasn't just some, Cinderella flash in the pan season. They had 5 straight A-10 titles. We all know the story. So we put this documentary together, and we're really doing well right now at this point. We're about to get this thing edited this summer. I'm going to take a few months, of course, on that, finishing up the fundraise, and it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really, really cool when this thing comes out.
Yeah, and you'll hear what I have to say about UMass basketball in the video, in the interview, so I won't say it now, but I will say this. I got to UMass in 91. That was pretty much the start of Calipari. He had just gotten there. And then I graduated in the winter of 96. So I was there through pretty much every great thing that UMass basketball did. And I was a huge fan. And we get into that with the when we talk to your partner, Brad. And so, enjoy this interview, and we'll comment about it on the other side.
My favorite UMass grads right here. I was telling to Brad earlier, I was like, now you get an inside look at us in the booth when you're always like hitting me.
Wait, now, Brad, what year did you graduate?
I was 97. Yeah.
99.
99.
Officially 96, as I graduated in the winter, January of 96.
Right. I had you for 1 year on the
No, I was 98. Fall was 97.
98.
Spring was 98.
Yeah.
Youngsters.
Yeah.
Really, Rene, you look good, man. Like, I feel like you could still.
I said that when I
third
saw
and
him.
5, maybe.
If I got to get a first down, Brad,
I feel
give me the
like-
ball. I'm going.
Yeah.
Right? Head down.
We've had those conversations, like, current people now, like, what would they be like
Right.
playing?
Like we interviewed the basketball players for the documentary, all the 96 guys that came back.
Yeah.
They were jacked.
Yeah,
Like Dante Bright's like in game shape.
I know.
Dana Dingle was
Marcus
in game
is probably
shape.
still in decent
Marcus
shape.
decent shape. He'd easily put up
Can't be
20.
Derek Kellogg's still in good shape.
They were all in
Yeah,
good
they
shape.
are.
Like everybody
Yeah.
looked like
Luro,
game, not just good shape, like game ready.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Every time I see Camby, it's like the largest person to me
Yes.
ever, even though, like, I've been around other people that are 6'11", 7 feet, 7'2". For some
Different.
reason,
Different.
yeah.
He just looks like the biggest person in the
Right.
world. Yeah.
So wait, now tell the viewers, what are you guys doing? Because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, making great progress here.
So Mike and I were student broadcasters back in the day at WMUA, and doing games for UMass basketball. And long story short, 30 years later, we decided to make a movie about that whole time period of sort of the Calipari era, 88 to 96, sort of UMass being like worst in the country to number one, a Final Four, and really beyond the scoreboard, how it transformed the university, the region, put Western Mass on the map.
And I know you guys, because obviously I'm good friends with Mike, you guys have been putting so much time and effort in this. How long has this project been going on? It's been going on a while now, right?
Yeah.
It has been going on a while. Mike and I have been, like you two, lifelong friends since we graduated. We always talked about doing it. And then one day, maybe about 5 years ago, Mike called me and kind of like lit a fire under my ass and was like,
Get going.
if we're going to do it, let's do it. And I remember being that day, it clicking in my head, being like, holy shit, we're going to do this. And from that day forward, we started to set up meetings and times and whatnot. And we got here and raised the money to make it, which was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome experience. I mean, we talk about like enjoying the journey, and you hear that line from everybody all the time. It's like, no, we really have enjoyed this entire process. We're not going to just wait until this thing comes out and be like, oh, I feel good now. It's like, no, I've been feeling great since 2020.
I mean, it's like two kids returning to the candy store.
Yeah.
You're getting to relive one of the most important chapters of your life. We both got reconnected to the university in even a tighter way, and meeting other people in the athletic program in different sports and all sorts of stuff. So getting reconnected with UMass for me was like a really awesome part of this experience.
Yeah, I think that's what we've all wanted, right? I mean,
So, and obviously I got here in 91, a little older than you guys. And so that was right when Cal really started to take off. I was a huge basketball fan. And so my basketball story, I don't know if I ever told you this, probably have. Maybe you guys should put me in the documentary.
Yeah.
So I went to the last ever game at the Curry-Hicks Cage.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people don't remember. ESPN used to have midnight games during the season. So it was a midnight game against the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana Lafayette. That was the last game of the Cage. And then 2 days later, the first game at the Mullen Center, it was against West Virginia, and it was a double overtime win. It just goes to show you, as a basketball fan, like those and a UMass alum, and just the excitement that I had as a student, just ingrained in my memory.
We might use
See,
this
there you go.
pickup day. I love the enthusiasm. I remember after that last game in the Cage, Cal famously got on the microphone and was like, "Don't destroy the place. Like we're still going to use this as the gym."
Oh, yeah.
What a great venue, though, to watch a game. The Curry-Hicks Cage. I can't even explain how great that was.
We just had an awesome walk down memory lane, you and I, at the Collegian today. We were literally going through every single article that pertained to UMass basketball from like 88 to 96.
Sure. Dan Wetzel must have wrote some of that
He
stuff.
did.
I was
He
going to
did.
say,
A lot of Dan Wetzel. Yeah. Super cool to revisit all those articles and whatnot. So yeah, I wrote an article in '96 basically saying in the Collegian, this experience was so awesome. Someone should make it into a movie. And then 30 years later, Mike and I are now doing it.
Director, producer. So for the fans, for the UMass fans watching and listening, when will it be done? I mean, you guys are close, right? Are we close?
Yeah, we're hoping to have a cut of the movie by the end of the year.
Nice.
So we filmed 90% of it, or really 98% of it. There's 2 more interviews we're going to film, and we're currently already in post-production.
And you know what the cool thing is, too, that really just kind of popped in my head? You know, with the transition of the athletic department going into the MAC, it's really a great, resource for a lot of new fans that, know UMass but don't really know the backstory.
Right.
I think that transitions really well. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we are too. It's like that's it. It's great for the university, right? It's great for everything that it stood for back then, and it kind of really sends the message that I wish we had today. Without everybody just like, I don't like this anymore, I'm out of here. We didn't have that, right?
No.
I mean, you were a player. All those guys, they stuck around. Cammy's only got left early because he went to the NBA. That's what it was about, like digging your heels in and getting better and not just being like, I'm out of here.
When we talked to Cal, the 95-96 team that went to the Final Four, in his interview for the movie, he said, first of all, you're talking about $8 million to get that team today. And then secondly, all 5 would have left after their first year.
Yeah.
So it just, when people ask us all the time, do you think it would ever happen again? It won't.
Yeah.
Not in an NIL era, for sure. It'll never happen again.
Looking forward to getting like some premieres out with this thing, right? And festivals. And
I mean, we're going hard at like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV. So we're really targeting this for a major streamer because we feel the story merits it.
Yeah, and I always laugh when some people come and they talk to us. They say, "Well, do you think anybody outside of UMass or Massachusetts would care about this story?" They went from like the worst team in the country to number 1 and won 5 straight A-10 titles. Went to the tournament, the Final Four, like. Yeah, everybody was talking about it.
It was 100% a national story. I mean, I can tell you, like, we went back in the early 90s, mid-90s. Panama City, Florida was the big spring break place.
Right,
yeah.
And I remember going there for spring break, and it was during March Madness. And, I mean, you wore your UMass stuff. I mean, everybody knew UMass. It was a national story. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I remember Lou Rowe was telling us in his interview when he started to feel it was like they were out in Los Angeles for a tournament or something, and he got spotted at the airport. So he's like, "You're Lou Rowe. I've seen you all over ESPN." He was like, "This is weird. Like people spotting me." And it wasn't an age of social media where it's like, like when you saw Lou Rowe, like we always joke, like we thought Camby and Lou Rowe like didn't even live here. Like they flew in for games, Fast Times at Ridgemont High style,
Yeah.
So when you'd see him on campus, it was like, oh my God, there's Lou Rowe or there's Camby.
No, it was larger than life. Look, it meant so much more. You know this because, we didn't have the phones. We didn't have cell phones. Like, you either were there or you read in the paper. I mean, it was just like it meant so much more. Like, and nobody was like off running 20 different things.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, I'm glad you guys have documented it, and it's going to be extraordinary. I can't wait for it to be done.
We got our sizzle reel up on 283productions.com.
Yeah,
that's where it's at. People check that out. Anything else we got here?
For me, I'll add, like, I love what you guys are doing with the football thing, and this is really a big rebuild year for the team, and you guys, big brands being on ESPN and everything, coming in to give back to the university and the program and help them along. I think that's like a huge thing. Like, yes, our story is about basketball, but we're UMass guys through and through, and we want to see good things for all our programs.
Yeah, and we appreciate it, Brad. I mean, this pod starts out for football, but for you viewers, watchers, listeners, we'll transition right into basketball. We're UMass through and through here.
Awesome.
All right, great seeing you, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You got it.
Yeah, great stuff with Brad there. He's he's been doing such great, Rene. I mean, I'll tell you, like, we're partners in this and we're co-directors or co-producers. He's the director. He has really taken control of this project, and the amount of work and time and effort that he has put in to just push it forward too. I think it's pretty admirable, and I'm just excited to be working with him on the project. And it's going to be awesome when it comes out.
Listen, baby, lightning in a bottle. I cannot wait. Yeah. No, we can't give away any names, but I know you got some special people you were interviewing at the end here.
Yes.
Are those interviews are done now, right? You're pretty much done with all the interviews?
One of the two are done. We got one more to go.
So you're at like 99% complete.
Yeah, we're still working on a little bit. Like I said, it's going to start to get edited pretty soon. And then, we're taking it from there. Still finishing up our fundraise as well, too. If you'd like to be a part of it, you can, like I said, go to 283productions.com. You can watch the sizzle reel. Our contact info is on there. And we're going to push this thing over the finish line pretty soon.
Yeah, sizzle reel is great. So go to 283.com. It's really tremendous. Brad mentioned something that I want to talk about before we end this pod. The UMass athletic department, obviously our pod is football and basketball. Those are like the two main things. A lot of the other sports at UMass have been phenomenal. Conference championships, getting the NCAA. When all the sports do good, it helps everybody, but especially football and basketball. So there's some people think, well, if you're a football supporter, you're not a basketball, or vice versa. No. You support all, and they lift, rising tide lifts all boats. And that's the way it is at UMass. And listen, basketball struggled the past few years too. And I think, the change to the MAC is going to be good for them too. I know we can do a whole pod, and we probably will, on a lot of people that are angry that they left the A-10. But the world of not only college sports, but college basketball, it's just different. And we'll do it. We'll get into a pod later about that, but it's just different. It's time to move forward. And I'm excited for all of UMass.
Yeah. You know what? We will, but here's the other thing. Let's let the season go through and see what happens. Right. Okay. So as we're talking, of course, all year long with UMass football, let's get to the end of the season and then we can evaluate. Right. Yeah. And then we can go back and say, and the same thing with basketball. I get it. Right. It's what you just said. Everybody's like, what's the deal? Just let's get through the season and then we can have a little bit of something to talk about, because right now it's all just like, you have no idea. And I'd rather look on the optimistic side of things. I've always said, embrace the uncertainty. we always feel like, we don't know what's going to happen. This is going to suck. It's like, well, wait, why does it have to suck? Just because we don't know what's going to happen doesn't mean it has to suck. It could be awesome. It could be a better situation. So let's just, take it and see what happens as we go through both of these seasons coming up, because I'm fired up to see what's going to happen.
No doubt. Listen, again, I can't believe episode 3 of the Flagship Pod already, Mike. It's flying. And for everyone out there, thank you for the support. Like, follow wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, but especially MinutemanCommand.com. Go there. It's free. Join, subscribe. You not only will be able to get this pod there, but any interview, Minuteman Command, Christian McCullough, Tommy Guy, all the guys that are associated with MinutemanCommand.com. There's unbelievable resources there. Interviews, video breakdowns of players, transfer portal news, anything you want for UMass football or basketball is at MinutemanCommand.com. Again, it's free. Go there, join. You'll get emails, newsletters, the whole 9 yards. And it's just a great way to support UMass athletics.
Yeah, 100%. And it keeps you up to date. Like you said, I'm getting these emails, with all the different articles and things about the players and the real stories of who these guys are. And, they're doing a hell of a job. So that's exactly right. And you get more involved with the university, right? And you understand a little bit more about what's going on too. It's not just you're connected. So get on there and subscribe to it. Like I said, free at MinutemanCommand.com. And we will do this again next week, man.
And I'm going to say, I think next week we'll do, we got a couple more interviews.
Yep.
Defensive coordinator. How about defensive coordinator Jared Kite and Malcolm Green? Transfer, came from the ACC, great defensive back, couple good interviews. So let's talk a little UMass defense next week. What do you say, partner?
That sounds good. Let's do it. Until then,
brother.
Rene and Mike, have a great week. See you next time.